Welcome to Orthodox Christian Theology. Welcome to Orthodox Christian Theology. This is Craig Truglia, live from Cambodia, and with me today is Father George Maximov, live from Moscow. He is the chair of the Russian Exarchate in Africa. He is a Moscow-based religious scholar and lecturer, a professor in Moscow Theological Academy, a member of the Church of Russia Synodal Working Group on the elaboration and conceptualization of interreligious relations, and many other very interesting facets of the Moscow Patriarchate, like, for example, head of the Sixth-day Missionary Education Society, is noted for his expertise in Islamic studies and missionary work. So it is an immense pleasure to have you back again on the show, Father.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I thank the audience because I am in Cambodia right now. I'm dressed a little down, as people could tell, and the audio quality might not be quite there like what we have when we have a special microphone. But this should do, because we have a lot of very important questions about the Moscow Patriarchate's work in Africa. And I feel there's really no one else better in the English language to really discuss this question with Father George. Just so people are aware, linked are below is Father George's YouTube channel, which is now, he has an English YouTube channel with a lot of really good missionary-based videos. So like and subscribe to Father George Maximov's YouTube channel below. Link is below. And also, please be aware that your support to the Orthodox Christian missionary work in Cambodia makes this show possible. So please support the missionary work in Cambodia at orthodoxchristiantheology.com/donate. Links are below. PayPal is preferred. And we also have Venmo, and for monthly contributors, Patreon. Please check out the community page if you would like to donate one of the liturgical books in your name for the Mission Cambodia. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's get into the interview. So let me ask you maybe a question that's obviously right or obviously wrong. I'm in Asia. Asia is a big place, but Moscow's work in Africa is also very big. So my question for you, Father, is Africa the Moscow Patriarchate's largest mission field?
If we speak about people, of course, in Africa, many people lives, but right now, of course, we have mission worldwide, and in Asia, as you know, right now you in one of mission of Russian Orthodox Church in Asia, and also in another places of world. But Africa, of course, it's now is the whole continent, and with big population. So yes, generally I agree with this.
Now, does the Russian Exarchate in Africa have more parishes than the Russian Church in Asia?
Yes. We have now about 350 parishes in Africa. In Asia, I believe less than 100.
And so how many parishes did the Exarchate begin with in 2019?
I think more than 80%. I don't sure about exact numbers right now. I don't keep them in memory, but majority of these parishes, they appeared, I think, even more than 80%. They appeared after this date.
Okay, I see. So there's been pretty much a fivefold increase. Is there enough clergy to serve all these parishes? Do they all each have one priest, or do we have certain parishes that are priestless, like in Cambodia? we have essentially 2.5 parishes. Phnom Penh is a full-time priest, and Sihanoukville and Siem Reap, we only have one priest right now, Father Roman, get visited intermittently. Like, for example, we'll be in Sihanoukville on Wednesday. So that's an example of up to 3 parishes in a country with just one priest. Is that similar in some African countries, or do they all seem to have at least one priest?
Of course, many our priests they serve more than one parish. We have estimated 270 priests. So you can see that some of them should serve more than one parish.
Are most of the priests Africans? Are many Russians? Are any Greeks?
Almost every our priest is African. I think maybe only we have 6 Russian priests and 1 American priest in Exarchate, and all other the Africans.
And how many total parishioners would you say there are in the 350 parishes?
It's an interesting question. Many people ask it, and I personally, when I just was curious many years ago about how many Orthodox Christians in Africa, I saw very big difference in numbers. So it was when Alexandrian Church did a mission in Africa, and at that time I saw in some sources 300,000 up to 1 million, up to even 7 millions. You can understand how big difference between this. And when I start to work myself in Africa, I understood that this is just because of nobody counted. So all of these numbers is just from the mind, from just idea, very estimated, and we
We
also
have a president
did
in
not count
America that does.
by head. But I can say, I first of all, I would like to share with you information about my article. I published article when I explain the problematic of this question, and I believe it will be interesting for all who want to know more about it. And now, answering shortly, I can say that estimated we can have about 25,000 of believers, and in Greek side also I don't know exactly, but I believe it's about 100,000 or maybe more than 100,000 of believers. Nobody can say you exact numbers because nobody knows.
And so you would, in your estimation, say the Greeks still have more parishioners in Africa than the Russian Exarchate.
Yes.
Okay. And are the many of the parishes started around Russian expats, like in Cambodia, they're started around expat communities of Russians? Are they mainly Africans?
A majority of them Africans. Those who were started by Russians, uh, just a few. But it's ancient. Some of them ancient parishes, especially in North Africa. They have more than 90 years of history, and it proves also that the Russian Church is not new in African continent. Because, for example, Russian Orthodox Church in Rabat, the capital of Morocco, is more than 90 years old, and Orthodox Church in Tunisia also is very old, about 80 or 75 years old. So even if these parishes are few, they also, of course, important for us as a some kind of memory about our long church presence in African continent. But majority, as I said, the Africans created by Africans.
Now, in the Muslim countries, is missionary work predominantly like on the internet and things where it's not breaking local laws, or there's is it on a personal level? Like how does Russia have a ground game in countries where, let's say, it's Morocco or Tunisia?
Sorry, what is the question?
So like how would the church do missionary work in some of these Muslim countries in Africa?
Ah, I see. There are different Muslim countries in Africa. For example, if we take Mali, this country with 98% of Muslim population, but officially it is a secular
I
country, secular.
Yeah.
It is not Islamic country. So even converting from Islam to Christianity is not against the law in Mali. But of course, in other countries like, for example, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, Egypt, it is against the law. So, of course, officially, a mission in such countries cannot be cannot be successful. But in modern world, and especially because of internet, people even from Muslim countries, they discover Orthodox Christianity for themselves. And even
Yeah.
in these countries, there are people who found their way to the Christ, to the Christ Church, and it is not easy for them because of the laws of their countries. They Some of them try to go to another countries to get the baptism where it is illegal. Um, and another some of them just wait when there will be possibility to get baptism. So the spreading of Christianity in such kind of Muslim countries is very not easy, but I believe everyone knows it. Anyway, even in
Now,
these countries, some people find the way to the Christ.
no, and thank God for that. And I have a question, and if you don't have the answer, you can simply say I don't know. Um, but I see a lot on the Western internet that there's a lot of Pentecostal conversions in countries like Iran and some of these Muslim countries. Is this, in your opinion, some sort of Western disinformation campaign in order to destabilize those Muslim countries like Iran, or are they beating us on the missionary field in some of these countries?
Mhm.
Because, like Iran, for example, has Russian Orthodox parishes.
Mhm. Yes, I can say that there is a different situations. For example, uh, according to my knowledge, at least some years ago in USA and in Canada, there was some kind of law that Iranian who became a Christian has right to go in this country. I mean, in Canada and USA. I don't
Like
know
as a
how it is
refuge.
now, but it was some years ago. It was for sure. And some Iranians, knowing that, they try to get baptism just to get a chance to go to the West. And I personally meet these cases when some Iranians came in another country, even in Asia. I was in Asia at the time, so they came in our church and they said sometimes it was even groups of friends. We want to become Christians who believe in Christ. So please baptize us, but you should give us a document we baptized. And when we start to talk with them, sometimes we organized to talk our Orthodox Iranians with them. So let they know them better, let they catechize them in their own language. And we discovered that sometimes these people know nothing about Christianity, know nothing about Christ. So it was just because to go to another country for better future. But of course, I don't want to say all of them like this. Of course not, because I know personally there are many people who sincerely converted, sincerely believed, and also we have many of them. Even in Russia, we have Orthodox Iranians, and I personally baptized one Orthodox Iranian. So I know it is possible, and such people also exist. But I just want to remind that because of this law, it is not so easy as you can think when you see such stories.
Oh, that's an interesting thing because a lot of people that haven't been to third world don't understand the sheer scale of scams and the amount of work people put into it, very sadly. I just have this positive comment. Love from South Africa. The Russian church has grown greatly in Zimbabwe. Half the churches in Zimbabwe have switched from the Greeks over to the Russians. So that's a positive comment that we have there. Now, let me ask you this about missionary strategies. What missionary strategies are being employed in Africa that are successful?
Mm. Now we have in a very blessed time for Orthodox mission because this is a general movement to Orthodoxy, not only in Africa, in Cambodia, in other countries of Asia, in America, in both Americas. Uh, Many people try to find their way to Orthodox Church much more than in previous centuries. They discovered, of course, internet helps because they discovered Orthodox teaching and information about Orthodox Church, but also uh, general situation in the world uh, press many Christians to find something original and something stable in this world which always changed and very quickly, very rapidly change. People want something which doesn't change. So Orthodox Church, which keeps the Orthodox teaching, apostolic teaching, apostolic traditions, is very attractive for many people, and in Africa also. So we are in very good condition right now. I mean, the missionaries of previous times, they need to go and to think how we can invite people to listen us. But we now we have opposite situation when a lot of people send us invitation, please come, we want to know more about Orthodoxy, we want to become Orthodox, please come and help. And in this situation, I can say you, our Exarchate exists just 4 years, but even for these 4 years, we still not visit all the place from where we got invitations to come. So in this situation, we need not to sit and think to have a brainstorm how we can find the way to people, because people try to find the way to us, and our worry is to help them, our worry to explain them what is orthodoxy really is. Our work is to see who is serious, who is not serious, and work with those who are serious to help them really to become Orthodox. And because of this, as I said, we need not to worry about these methods or strategies, how we can find the way to people.
Now, so the internet is a game changer. Is it also the English language? Are most of these converts getting exposed to Orthodox apologetics and Orthodox resources in the English language, or has it already filtered into their local languages?
Oh, majority Africans speaks French, but English also, of course, in very widespread in Africa. So for many of them, the English preachers very useful. And I already mentioned
Any
the
names of English language preachers that are Orthodox they particularly like or that you've seen?
Yes, yes. I know even from these Muslim countries which I mentioned, I know exact stories of Arabian people from these African countries who converted thanks to our Orthodox bloggers, YouTube, who lead the YouTube channels in English. So it really works. It helps. And of course, we believe that we need to help our fathers to be also presented in local languages, so like in Swahili and other languages of Africa. So right now we already have we inspire our fathers and help them, some of them, uh, how to become YouTube bloggers or TikTok to have TikTok channel to teach uh, to teach people in their own language, to help them to know about Orthodoxy in their own language, and it works also.
And so it's interesting that a lot of what is in the internet in the West filters itself and has a missionary effect throughout the world. Um, now, that kind of discusses what role the internet has. And so it seems to me people improving their YouTube channels and having good collaborations has a real effect on the mission field itself. I could say in Cambodia, that's absolutely the case as well. Um, so, what can make the mission in Africa, in your opinion, more successful? If there's more money, or if there's more people, what can we do with that money or people, or maybe something else to reach more people in Africa with the Orthodox Christian faith?
Mhm. You know, when more than 100 years ago, somebody asked Saint Nicholas of Japan, our great missionary who spread the Orthodoxy in Japan, uh, what is your
Hey, who's
problem?
based tonight?
Yes, he answered, we have two problems. We have no money, we have no people. And according to my knowledge, every mission can say the same, especially successful mission. As much as your mission is successful, you need more both of this. But I can say that to find the people is much more difficult than to find the money, because uh, for example, tomorrow somebody can call you and say, I want to donate, I want to support you, but to grow up the missionary, it will take a lot of time and it's not easy. So, of course, I believe that the people is more important than money.
Yeah, we definitely need more people. I've been grateful for the 4 volunteers we have that are becoming missionaries in Cambodia. We have a young man named Caleb doing it right now, and we'll have more coming in the near future. And to put more people so the priest isn't spread too thin to be doing the ministries that the church needs. And so I'll put a plug right now for the Prophet Daniel Missionary Movement in North America. That is orthomission.com. So again, orthomission.com. If you want to become a missionary or support missionary work or want to be involved in perhaps becoming a missionary someday, please go to orthomission.com and get connected to the Prophet Daniel Missionary Movement in North America. Of course, there's one in Europe because that's where it started. Now, that being said, we let's be frank about this. What are we doing wrong right now that we need to improve or fix when it comes to missionary work in Africa?
Um, you know, when I came in Africa, I I learned that I knew that Greek Orthodox Church who work here, Greek missionaries who work here, they made a lot of mistakes. Right now, we try to create our church mission avoiding these mistakes of Greeks. But I cannot say that
What
we.
mistakes did they make? What mistakes did the Greeks make, in your view?
Hmm. Well, first of all, I don't know why, but they decided not to bring the full Orthodox tradition in Africa. If you come and visit any uh, African church of Alexandria and Patriarchate, and you will go in Greece or Cyprus and compare, you will see a lot of differences in everything. Not only how they look like, but also what they do during the service, what they teach, what they know, everything. And they brought, I mean, Greeks, they brought any shortcutted version of Orthodoxy. And it is very big mistake, in my opinion, because Orthodoxy is like a cure. And if you will go to doctor and say, doctor, I have some health problems, please help me, and he answer, please, crack, this is a drug, this is a you should take this pillow every day during the months, and when you come back and you will take only one this pillow, it will not work, you will not get healed. It is not because of this drugs, it's because you don't follow, you don't take it this cure in whole, so it will not heal you. The same with Orthodoxy. Orthodoxy works only if you embrace it totally, fully, not just a small part of this. But they brought only very small part of this, and for example, there is totally no the sacrament of confession in African Orthodox parishes. No, at all. I heard that
And you say among the Greeks or among the Russians?
I speak about Greeks because I explained uh, what exact mistakes it was.
Yes.
So, of course, it is very big mistake because without sacrament of confession there is no repentance. Without repentance there is no spiritual life, and this, I believe, this is one of main reasons why a lot of people leave Alexandrian church. I mean, not to Russian church, leave at all, to Protestants, to Catholics, to someone else, so local cults. They live in dramatically, and majority of parishes of Greek Church empty during the Sunday. And I talk with some children of priests of Greek Orthodox Church, and they told me all of my friends who were Orthodox now they Protestant, and I personally. I also would like to leave Orthodox Church, but I stay here just because my father is a priest. And when I ask them, I heard this story not only in one country. When I ask them why, they explain because there is nothing in this church happened nothing. We have only Sunday liturgies. We came, we sit, we sing, and then we come back and nothing. And there is another big mistake. There is no teaching of Africans from the Greek Orthodox Church, from Alexandrian Patriarchate. They already more than 70 years in some countries of Africa. And during all this time, they did not print any books in local languages about faith. They translated in local languages, but only service books like liturgy, baptism, wedding, other kind of things, but no catechism, no any other teaching, no lives of saints. People visiting the Church of Saint Nectarius, Church of Saint Catherine, but they have no idea who are these people, you know. So whatever you will take, you will see how dramatically situation is, because people who speaks who call themselves Orthodox, very often they don't nothing, uh, they know nothing about their faith. And it is a very dangerous situation, because if a person who call himself Christian, Orthodox Christians, nothing, know nothing about his faith, he will live very easy. So we are trying to change this. We start to translate books in local languages. We start to make seminars for priests and for youth. We start to help catechists how to teach them. We prepare a guide for catechism. We publish a catechism also, and we try to teach people how to go the holy confession. We try to teach people about their faith. This is our worry. If we speak not about Africa, I can say you also there is wrong idea, and maybe this idea was a reason why situation is like I described. Because I saw the same idea in another Orthodox churches, in another Orthodox mission, in other parts of world. I mean, this idea that we converted, for example, this community from Protestantism or Catholicism to Orthodoxy, and for them, many Orthodox things can be difficult. So let we will not teach them about these things. Let it will be more easy for them. But I learned this lesson in Philippines when I started, that this is a wrong strategy. Opposite, as many as you demand from person who want to convert to change their belief, their life, their spiritual life, as much they become more rooted in orthodoxy, as more strong they orthodox they become. But if you ask very little to change, it means they still the same Protestants or Catholics, just with title Orthodox. But if their Orthodoxy is only title is very easy to change. So generally, I can say from many examples, set examples, and good examples of contemporary mission, that we should teach and give full orthodoxy, not any shortcutted version of orthodoxy for beginners. Because if you give it for beginners, how they can stop to be beginners? What will be exact time when you say, okay, right now you will get the full orthodoxy? No, it's impossible. If you start, you should start from the first, even during the catechism. Of course, because of this, maybe some people not join Orthodox teaching because they will afraid some of something in Orthodoxy. But it means they are not ready, and we need to be aimed in those who want to be a real Orthodox, not just Orthodox by title. So, in my opinion, this is one of wrong strategy, and this strategy was behind the failure of some missions in Asia and in Africa also.
Now, it's in the Russian church itself. Has there been um, any issues where things, like you said, they're not fully as orthodox as they could be? Because the reason I say that is a big difference between, let's say, Russian Orthodoxy in the United States and Russian Orthodoxy in Russia is, for example, the bowing and prostrating before the Eucharist on Sundays. There's the Nicene Canon that doesn't allow it. There's been certain modern Greek bishops and stuff saying this is a problem and we need to stop. I know that Moscow 1666 actually specifies you can neither bow nor kneel on a Sunday during the liturgy. But this has become pretty much universal in Moscow. And I see this among Russian churches that are started around at least Russian expats in Cambodia. So, do we have some of those issues and perhaps other issues with baptisms and confession also among the Russian Exarchate in Africa, or is it different in Africa?
There are just a few Russians who live in Africa. So, because of this, we can focus our efforts in Africans, and we are not in situation when we need to put a lot of efforts for Russians who live in Africa. Of course, there are some of them, and of course, we are glad to see them. But if they come, it is only maybe one or two or three, maybe 10, but not majority of people. So we have not any problem about this things which you mentioned. I mean, we try to start to do all things correctly according to the holy canons, according to the teaching of Orthodoxy. Of course, we just on the beginning, and there are a lot of things to do and a lot of things to change. But we already have our vision how to do it.
Now, and this is why it's so important if you're Russian and you're watching this to consider volunteering and becoming part of the mission in Africa, or if you want to help as a clergy, to consider going to seminary and becoming a missionary clergyman, or if you're American, join orthomission.com and becoming a missionary in some capacity, because you can't wave a magic wand to make everyone Orthodox and fix everything there. They need manpower. They need help. Just like I could say in Cambodia, we need help. So if this is something that speaks to your heart about bringing the unadulterated and correct Orthodox faith, you can make a difference by becoming a missionary yourself. So I just want to remind viewers of that. Now, that being said, I have a question about any sort of missionary cooperation, if it exists, because I have no clue. Is there ever missionary cooperation despite the jurisdictional differences in Africa? Like there's in America. Like we have different jurisdictions here, but they tend to cooperate in local cities and with local events. So is there cooperation like that in Africa, perhaps like with OCMC or even with the Greeks themselves? Does that exist or not really in Africa?
OCMC, according my knowledge, they very closely associated with Greek Orthodox Church. So, and especially with ecumenical, so-called ecumenical Constantinople Church. So, of course, Constantinople Church will not give a blessing for them to cooperate with us. And even in the beginning of our mission, the previous leader of OCMC wrote me letter that he doesn't support the decision of Russian Orthodox Church of creating the Exarchate in Africa. We know each other from many years before, so it is his position, and I was not wonder to see it because of association of them with Constantinople Church. Now two churches in Africa. It is Russian Orthodox Church and Alexandrian Orthodox Church. So some missionaries contacted with Alexandrian Church and go to Africa through them. Another contacted with us and work through us. And there is no, because I understand we should start from the another question to explain this question. But why in generally, okay, I will say in generally, why we are in Africa as a Russian Orthodox Church? Because before we trusted to do all mission in African continent to Alexandrian Church. They said, we want to do it. And we answer, okay, you want, please. And we also help them. I mean, Alexandrian Church, even financially, we help for their mission. It was how we participate in this mission before. But sadly, Alexandrian Patriarch Feodoros, it was already 6 years ago when he proclaimed that he recognized the schismatic group, which was called Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Ukraine. And he not only recognized them, he met in union with them. So if Alexandrian Church officially became part of schismatic group, it means for us it is not canonical Orthodox Church anymore. And it is not my personal opinion. It is a decision of our Holy Synod of Russian Orthodox Church, which proclaim openly that Alexandrian Patriarch and Alexandrian Church now is in schism. This is why after it was a big tragedy. It was big tragedy what happened. And after this tragedy, many Russians who live in Africa and also Russian parishes, which we had before, they connect us and said, we don't want to be part of this movement of Alexandrian Church. We don't want to be part of schism. So please accept us. This is why we accepted Russian parishes. But after this, also many African parishes, also many African priests and laymen, they also send us the same request. And what was the reason for us not to accept them? Of course, we should do it. So we accepted them. And of course, Alexandrian Church was not happy because of this. And they reacted very with big anger and pain. So right now there is no any Eucharistic union between Russian Orthodox Church and Alexandrian Orthodox Church. We have no any canonical ties between us. This is why there cannot be a cooperation between our missionaries, between us and them. And because of this, it is official position. Of course, unofficially, there are some contacts. Sometimes we met, and sometimes some of them, they told us we don't agree with the position of our patriarch, with the position of our synod. We have another opinion. Anyway, until they still part of this church, we cannot cooperate officially. And sometimes some of them, it's quite strange, because if you will read in internet the official position and official proclamation of Alexandrian Church about Russian Orthodox Church, you will say very strong negative position. But when we meet even with their bishops, when we meet unofficially, some of them say, one of them said, thank you for caring about our people. Another also support what we started to do, but it is their unofficial position. Official position, it is there is no any cooperation and cannot be any cooperation. So sorry, I should say so many words to explain why there is no field for official cooperation between different jurisdictions. But if someone from another church contact with us and can to work in our mission, it's possible. If he is ready, if he is good, why not?
Now, I have a question about the canons, and so does the audience. Don't the church canons forbid multiple jurisdictions of the same city and territory, right? This is an issue bigger than Africa. This exists in America, it exists in Europe, it exists in parts of Asia. It seems to me like if we have a canon, canons that forbid this, isn't what we're seeing the problem that we're ignoring these canons everywhere, that we shouldn't have these interlapping jurisdictions?
I think, of course, it is not first time to raise this question. Even before the situation was in Africa, the situation in Europe, in America, it will also created this this question. I can say you my personal position that it is just in the beginning. It's like a mission field. And in history, we also know the situation when in one country could work missionaries from different different churches. For example, in Moravia, there was missionaries from Byzantium, from Constantinople Church, and also another missions from Roman Church from Germany. They work together, but then there was also split, the problems, etc. Anyway, we could find they could try sorry, I lost my thought. I said yes, I found it. So they it is, in my opinion, it's possible as a temporarily during the establishing the new churches, but when church became more strong, it is a time to have one jurisdiction. For example, in America, in my opinion, there is enough number of Orthodox bishops, Orthodox parishes, and Orthodox believers for America to have its own autocephalous church. So this is why Russian Orthodox Church give autocephaly to Orthodox Church in America, even more than 50 years ago. It was enough because it is more big than some autocephalous churches. The Orthodoxy in America more big now. But not all churches supported this, especially Greek churches. They did not want to support this. This is why they still continue the different jurisdictions. Anyway, I believe it will be just it is this situation is temporary, and it can be only until the orthodoxy will become strong enough in this country to become autonomous and then autocephalous. And also, I believe in orthodoxy in Africa will be also the same future. Will have the same future.
Now, we might have already addressed this, so we can kind of pass it. But the accusation is like, because regrettably, there's a rift between Grecophiles and Russophiles, because not everyone's Russian or Greek in Africa, but between their churches under the Greeks and the Russians. Is the Russian mission in Africa an invasion of Alexandrian Greek territory? There's accusations in the chat being made of that. You said that because they're in schism, that then their canonical territory is already recognized. Is that your position, or would you like to add something to that?
You know, the people who speak about this canonical territory of Alexandrian Church, they lose the point. I mean, in whole canonic law of Orthodox Church, in even in terminology of Orthodox canons, there is no such thing as a canonical territory of schismatic church, because schismatics have no any canonical territory. Canons not protect schismatics, as well canons not protect heretics. So heretic churches also have no canonical territory. And now this is a official position of Russian Orthodox Church that Alexandrian Church now is in schism. So it was their voluntary decision to become the one body with schismatic church. Through this, they become schismatics. And this schismatic group, it was recognized as schismatic by whole body of Orthodox churches. It's not like only Russian believe this is schismatic. In the beginning, all of Orthodox churches recognize their schismatics. And after the Constantinople Patriarch Bartholomew, he created this sin, this created this split, and then he involved another church of Greek tradition in this problem, including Alexandrian Church. So after this, there is no. It is very strange rebuke or accusation to us that we have a mission in field of church which we recognize as schismatic, because all churches do the same. No one church respects the canonical territory of schismatic church, which their own group, which this church recognize as schismatics. It's ridiculous. And this is what miss people who mention about canons, etc. After Alexandrian Patriarch made this uncanonical decision, he removed himself and his church from the guard of canons of Orthodox Church. And many times we call them officially and unofficially to change their position and come back to church unity, to canonical church. But they still did not do this. And another thing also, which I should say, because this is the idea that whole Africa should be and must be and already is canonical territory of Alexandrian Church. It is something which you never can find in the holy canons of Church, because if you will go in canons, you will see that according to the canons, only Egypt and maybe Libya, maybe part of Ethiopia, recognized as a canonical territory of Alexandrian Church. And it was never...
their claim over all Africa is rather recent and not canonical. And so missionary work would be like heathen lands, according to the Nicene Canon. They'd be able to... there's no one that has exclusive rights over the rest of Africa. So then could another jurisdiction, I'll just make it up, the Romanians create their own exarchate outside of Libya, Petopolis, and Egypt?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes. Because it was no all Orthodox decision that this should be a canonical territory of Alexandrian Church. It was some proclamation which were made by Patriarch Meletios Metaxakis less than 100 years ago. About less than 100 years ago, he proclaimed this. It should be ours. But there was no pan-Orthodox decision about this ideas.
All right, so I just want to say quickly hello to Father Ambrosi, mutual friend of Father George, and of course, I know Father Ambrosi from Jordanville. We have this good kind of follow-up question. I've been avoiding anything too divisive out of respect for our guests, so the audience knows, but I think this follows up directly and is respectful enough. And the question is the Alexandrian Church a schismatic church, even though we're recognized by the other churches in communion with Moscow? So his argument is perhaps he will grant that, let's say, the OCU and the Kiev Patriarchate and the schismatic groups it was before universally recognized as schismatics, including by the Ecumenical Patriarchate. So they're schismatics. No one's disagreeing with that. And the Alexandrians have unfortunately went to communion with those schismatics. That said, though, the Russian Orthodox Church is in communion with many jurisdictions, let's say Romanians, Bulgarians, Georgians, that are in communion with the Alexandrians. So does that at least at minimal recognize the canonicity of the Alexandrians within their own canonical territory, Egypt, Petopolis, and Libya?
You know that It is not something new in history. For example, in 11th century, when there was a split between Constantinople and Rome, another patriarch did not support the position of Patriarch Michael Cerulari. There is letters from one of Eastern Patriarch. I don't remember. It was Antiochian, but I don't. I cannot keep in memory exact. But one of Eastern Patriarchs, he said that yes, I understand your arguments about this and arguments about filioque is serious, but another argument is not serious, and we continue to be in unity with Rome. They continue to be in unity with Rome sometime after 11th century. So the situation was the same. I mean, Rome and Constantinople not united, but another patriarchs, they united with both of them. But after some time, and this time was quite long, according to scholars, it was more than 100 years. After this, finally, all other Orthodox jurisdictions also cut the ties with the Roman Church because of it's really has heresies, etc.
And the parallel jurisdictions, they were replacing the Patriarch of Jerusalem. And I think Alexandria was the last. I've read some scholarship says up to 1308 Alexandria was in communion with Rome, which is pretty interesting. Now, this has been something that I've thought very seriously about, and I really don't know the answer to the question. Formerly, Russian parishes in Africa at the liturgy commemorated the Patriarch of Alexandria and the local Greek hierarchs in their jurisdiction. Wouldn't this imply, and the answer no is fine, but doesn't this imply that Russia likewise recognized Alexandria's claims throughout Africa after 1930? Otherwise, why else would they commemorate elsewhere in the continent the Patriarch of Alexandria?
According to my knowledge, they commemorated both patriarchs during the liturgy.
Okay.
And after Alexandrian Patriarch fallen in schism, they stopped to commemorate him. And of course, it is a very sad story because we did not go to start something in Africa. We believe that Greeks want to do it, and we try to help them, and we help them financially for their mission, and it was good for us. And but after decision of Patriarch Feodoros, he put us in this situation, and our church waits for 2 years. 2 years we did not accept the African fathers who asked us to be accepted, believing maybe Alexandrian Church change its wrong decision, and if they did it, the Exarchate of Russian Orthodox Church was not created in Africa. But sadly, they show openly that they not change, and even they go more and more far in this wrong direction about recognizing of schismatic group.
Now, before we do some audience questions, and we have one of our members in the audience, so I agree with them. Let's return back to the mission theme, because we could very easily go off a lot of the current events, which are very regrettable, and there's split in church, and we have ongoing war in Ukraine, which is something that for everyone all around is tragic. And so there's so many negative things to focus on. So forgive me for asking this, but it's important, people. You're in the know, having been a Russian clergyman and with much experience in Africa. There is, of course, the female deacon controversy in Africa. I mean, is it over? Did they fix it? What really happened? Are there other female deacons? And then perhaps after we cover that, what is the proper response to correcting this terrible thing that has occurred?
Yes, it was really a big shock for all Orthodox worldwide, even in Greek world. And if we speak the history of this issue in Alexandrian Church, we can have many questions. For example, you know that Synod of Alexandrian Church in 2009, in October of 2009, it's declared that the consecration of deaconesses was unanimously rejected by the bishops because it is not considered necessary for it to be established in the practice of the Orthodox Church on the African continent. It was decision of Alexandrian Church in 2009. So 7 years later, the same synod of Alexandrian Church state another statement. As regards the question of the institution of diaconesses, it was decided to revive it, and a tripartite commission of hierarchs was appointed to examine the matter in detail. So it remains unclear what has changed in 7 years to make it necessary to revive something which until a short time ago was firmly rejected as unnecessary for Africa. And already in February 2017, Patriarch Theodore of Alexandria ordained 5 women in DR Congo as diaconesses. And so it was first. But at that time, it was like kind of blessing for women to help during the service. This is why it was not so big problem. Because it was announced that this diaconesses would simply assist the missionary efforts of the Holy Metropolis, particularly in baptism and catechesis. And but about 2 years ago already, or less than 2 years ago, the Metropolitan Seraphim of Zimbabwe, he decided not to make something like this. Like choose some woman and call them diaconesses and give them some place to help in mission. No. Yes, one user wrote correctly that they were not ordained. They were just blessed. It's true. And this is what I said. But Metropolitan Seraphim, he really ordained a woman as a deacon. And it is not order of deaconesses. He really ordained a woman as a deacon. He entered her in holy altar. He read absolutely the same prayers as during the ordination of deacon. He put on her the deacon vestment. He put her to play the role of deacon during the liturgy, to say litanies, and even he give her to give the Holy Communion to believers. Even deacons in our tradition, even deacons don't allow to do this, only priest. So it is not like they say it's a reviving of all the service of diaconesses. Not, because all diaconesses, yes, church had in past the diaconesses, it's true, but these diaconesses were just assistants of priest or bishop in their mission to women. That's all. They have no any role during the liturgy. They did not serve. And it is not my opinion. To avoid this impression that it is something from me, I will give you quotation from Saint Epiphanius of Cyprus, who wrote at the end of the 4th century, "There is a rank of diaconesses in the church. It is not instituted for sacramental actions, nor for entrusting diaconesses with anything of the kind of sacred activity, but only for the sake of guarding the honor of the female sex at the time of baptism, or when supervising suffering or illness, and simply in all cases when the body of a woman is exposed, so that it may not be seen by priest man, but only by the deaconesses, who at the necessary moment receives a command from the priest to take care of the woman when her body is exposed. For the word of God does not permit a woman to speak in church, nor to lord it over a man. So this was a real place of diaconesses in ancient church. But now what Metropolitan Seraphim did, it's absolutely another thing, because it is first time in church history they made a woman priesthood in the church, because deacon is the first step of priesthood. We have three steps: deacon, priest, and bishop. So deacon, it's already first step of priesthood. And what was happened? Uh, he said that it was blessed by Patriarch Theodorus, so it was not his own intention, his own idea. And after this, there was a statement, official statement of Alexandrian Church, and they did not accuse him. They did not proclaim it is wrong and we don't recognize it. No, they recognized it. So it is a problem not only Metropolitan Seraphim of Zimbabwe. It's not problem of Zimbabwe. And you remember you read one of message of our people who watch us that we have good results in Zimbabwe. This is also why we have them. And I can say, yes, I can say you, yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry. The
I
same
just
user.
want.
Or you finish. You finish.
Yes, the same user wrote that Synod state that she not allowed to give the Holy Communion, etc. I read the statement of Synod. The Synod recognized her. The Synod did not reject this ordination and her role as a deacon. Even more, I heard that now she is archdeacon. She called archdeacon. She continued to serve as a deacon, totally as a deacon.
So she's still serving communion to both men and women.
About communion, I don't know, but all deacon duties she does. So she serves, she says the litanies, she do all actions of deacons during the liturgy. She does, and this is why it's a problem of all Alexandrian Church. And I only want to add that we have two waves of converting of priests of Alexandrian Church. First was in the beginning of Exarchate because of this issue with schismatic church. But second wave started after this ordination of women. Many fathers from different countries of Africa, they start to ask to be joined, to be accepted in Russian Orthodox Church, because they said, it is not church which I came. Church which I came had no ordination of women. It's absolutely strange. And also, some Africans said, if to ordain a woman as a deacon is so good thing, why you did not do in Greece or Cyprus or any other traditional Orthodox country? Why you did it in Africa?
So it's a slap in the face to Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's so that sadly that's still an issue that isn't fully resolved. Though it's good if it's true that she's not serving communion anymore, because I've seen the picture of it. And that was before AI made fake pictures of everything. So before we do some audience questions, if Father'd be kind enough to answer a few for us, I just want to give you, Father, an opportunity to let people know how they can maybe help the mission, how they could follow you on YouTube and elsewhere, if you have time for maybe plugging some of that information for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you mentioned, I started recently, and I can say openly, it was you who inspired me to start my English version of my YouTube channel. Before it was only in Russian. Now I started in English, and I believe it will also be useful for people. And of course, I asked
So please
to.
click on the link below. Everyone stop what they're doing. Look below. First link is Father George's YouTube channel. Click now. Click subscribe. Subscribe to Father George's YouTube channel. Thank you. All right, Father George. And what else can they do to follow you and to support you?
Thank you. And also, if someone has a wish to try himself in mission in Africa, they can also I believe, contact me. Or if someone from America, we have one American clergy, Father Silouan Brown. He also known as a good missionary in Uganda. He has Orthodox Africa, the website. So maybe if we speak about Americans, it's good for them to contact him, and also he can guide them what and how to do to help mission. So it's I believe it's good and right way.
And if you want to make it easy, if you want to support the Mission Africa or any mission, and just let us know which mission, you can become a missionary at orthomission.com, the Prophet Daniel Missionary Movement. And I will directly put you in contact with Father George. Just you provide your information there, you read the bylaws of the society, and we will be able to organize from there as well. So orthomission.com, I will plug. And of course, if you want to support the Mission Cambodia or become a missionary, orthodoxchristiantheology.com/donate. If you can't become a missionary yourself, you can support financially, and it's not patronizing in any way. If you could even simply pray for the mission, that is seriously appreciated. So pray for the mission in Cambodia. And again, orthodoxchristiantheology.com/donate if you want to financially support that mission. So we have a few audience questions. We can't do too many this evening. And so I'll ask the first question. What language is most important for missions today in Africa? English and French, or do missionaries have to learn local languages for confession? So like is it still mostly English and French, or do we have other important languages that are used in the mission there?
Well, as I said, about 60% of Africans speaks French, but majority of them are Muslims, or maybe not majority, maybe half of them are Muslims. So if we speak about Christians of Africa, maybe English and French is the same. It's important. And if we speak about local languages, it is good to learn them if someone decide to go forever or for a long time in some exact country. There are international African language Swahili. Not one country speaks Swahili. There are many countries who use this language fully or partially. And other languages not so have not such international status, even while these languages are not in one country. And of course, in my opinion, we need to help these African languages to be more developed. I mean, to have its own literature standards, because in some in some of these languages there is no literature, or very small, very few. It's not literaturally developed languages. Sadly, right now, I believe it will change, and we also try to participate in this big thing, because we translate our Orthodox texts in these languages. But right now, with these languages, is not so easy, like with European languages. Also, there is countries of Africa who speaks Portuguese, and these
Yes.
big countries. And it's very difficult, almost impossible to find a missionary with Portuguese. And anyway,
Brazilian Orthodox to stand up. We got a lot of them. Jose that did the documentary Hidden History of Early Christian Art is Brazilian. So I know there's a few Brazilian Orthodox. So if you're in Brazil and you want to become part of the mission field, you're Brazilian, and you're in the United States, you could help out the mission in Africa as well. So consider that as well.
yes, yes. At least in translational work, and I believe it's very important.
So we have this question: what are the main apologetic challenges in Africa? Right. So like I've noticed in reading Father Daniel Sazoyev's works in Russia, there seems to be a lot of issues, particularly with atheism, Spiritism, and Baptist Protestants. How about in Africa? Is it very similar? Is there like more animism and outright paganism? Islam, obviously. What are the main apologetic challenges in Africa?
Well, atheism is not a problem for Africa. According to my knowledge, Africans they more believing people than others, and a very small percent of atheists among Africans in compare of other people in other continents. So atheist is not problem. Atheism is not problem in Africa. And of course, the Islam is a challenge because Muslims very active. They try to spread the Islam. They have a very big charity activity, and they publish a lot of and spread a lot of Muslim missionary materials. So they are very active right now. And Protestants also, I think majority of African Christians, Protestants, in my impression. Of course, there are Catholicism also, but they losing position. Catholicism in Africa goes down, and the same with paganism. Paganism disappearing in Africa. Of course, there are still some place, some people, but if we speak about majority, paganism as a religion lose believers and people convert to Christianity or Islam.
Now, we have this comment about Blessed Father Chrysostom Papasaranantopoulos and Father Cosmas of Greguru Monastery, the founders of the African Mission and Orthodoxy in Africa. My question is this: how were they so successful, these men? What made them so successful that we were able to get more than 100,000 Orthodox Christians in sub-Saharan Africa?
Father Cosmas was a really great man and great missionary. He loved people, and sadly, he died more than 40 years ago. Our subscriber also mentioned another name. Sadly, I don't know. I don't know another father, but of course, it was there was a good Greek Orthodox missionaries who tried to bring Orthodoxy in African continent, but sadly they did not become a system. So if we speak about whole system of mission or church life, it is not like what these fathers try to do. For example, even in whole Orthodox Alexandrian Church, only in Congo they sing with tones. I mean, during the service, they know the tones because Father Cosmas teach them. In all other places, they know only one tone. For more than 40 years, they did not teach them how to sing in many tones. Only Father Cosmas did it. But why they did not do this? Because he really tried to bring whole Orthodox tradition, and they still continue to sing like in Holy Mount Athos in Congo, in especially in this place of Congo where Father Cosmas lived and preached. When I was here, it was really impressive when the Africans sing like you like in Holy Mount, very good, strong voices and very correct. So it's possible for Africans, but in other countries they did not do this. And this is just example why if whole system is wrong, even good missionaries cannot change this system. This is what I saw in Africa. I understand maybe I sound like very critical to Greek mission, but it's my personal, because I was a big fan of Greek mission in Africa in previous years. I help them, and even I have some. They gave me, for example, in Metropolitan of Accra gave me as a thank for my efforts to help them, to support their mission. I support the Greek missions in many countries before, because I believe they're great missionaries. They do all right things, all things right. Sorry, and when I came personally in Africa, and when I start to not to read Greeks papers about their mission, but when I start to listen Africans, Orthodox Africans, I was shocked how far the reality from the picture which I got when I read this good news about Greek mission. So it was a very big disappointment for me personally. And whatever I said, I say from practice, from reality, from the ground.
Now, only two more questions, and we won't keep you any longer, Father. What is the Moscow Patriarch's view of allowing lay intercommunion between Alexandria and Moscow? Is there any sort of excommunication there, or is it only clergy between clergy? The reason I ask is before Archbishop Peter of Chicago, of blessed memory, passed, he explicitly said that it's only between clergy. And this was in, this is Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia. So I'm talking the United States. I've heard the same from certain Moscow Patriarchate clergy. Now, I'm not sure, is there any sort of official stance on this in Moscow Patriarchate? Are you at liberty to give your own opinion? I just don't know whether there's a singular correct answer to that question.
I understand that some people have compassion to laymen. I understand it. I personally also have. But theologically, this position sounds quite strange because church never only priests or clergy. Every church has clergy and laymen. Laymen also part of this church. So how we can exclude the layman from what is happening with their church? So of course, this is why as a member of Alexandrian Church, if they will visit our parishes, they cannot go to the Holy Communion, for example, because this decision is it connected to everyone who recognizes himself as a member of Alexandrian Church.
All right, and we have this last simple question. Father, Christ is risen. I'm 15 years old. I'm a Protestant. I was able to learn about Orthodoxy, I'm guessing from the internet. Now, I've understood it as the truth. I wish to be a monk. What steps would you suggest for him to become a monk, even if that means thinking about it longer, because it's a pretty big life decision. But that's the question being posed to you.
I think before you become adult, you cannot become a monk. So now you have some time to pray to Lord, to ask his guidance and his will about you. And during these years, I believe if you will try to live, you know, as a good Christian and avoid sins and learn your faith, Orthodox faith, and try to keep you in chastity, living by clear life. All of this will prepare you for the good future. And I just want to say that many people, when they just convert, they think about monastic life if they not married, and it's normally because monastic life is a life fully devoted to Christ, and if you feel the touch of God to you, of course, it's normally for you to have wish to devote yourself totally to God. But sometimes it's go on. Sometimes people keep it and become really monks. So I just recommend you to seek in the will of God, what God wants for you, because it's more important than what you want yourself. And may God will help you in your journey in Orthodoxy.
Well, Father George, as always, it's been tremendous to have you bless us with so much information, even though some of it is, hurtful or distressing because of the current events. But that most importantly, that we keep in mind that we're in a world that needs missionary work, that people are suffering. They need the gospel. They need to hear repentance. They need the sacraments, the church, and that you're one of the most important missionaries right now that are trying to seek those ends for the people in Africa. So I'm very grateful to have you on and share what you know with us tonight.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
And for everyone watching this today, I thank you and I commend you to pray for, support, or consider becoming a missionary yourself. Links are below if you want more information. And I'll end this show as I end all of them by quoting Jesus Rock. Put to death for the truth, the Lord God will fight for you. God bless you. Have a great day.